All right, back for another MPTV interview with Brad Martineau and Dave Lee, my good friends from 6th Division. And these guys have been good friends of mine personally for over 7 years now, as well as we've spent a lot of time working together and having fun all over the world. It's great to have you guys here on MPTV.
Thank you, man.
Thank you. Excited to be here.
Awesome. So tell us a little about your backgrounds for those who don't know your story and really your journey and what 6th Division is.
Right. Okay, I'll start. Mine's more exciting to start. Okay. All right, so back in the day, this was like 2004. I was working at University of Phoenix, of all places. I got a call from my brothers, and they were running this little software company, and their entire support team up and left. It was really just one person, but their entire support team left. They needed somebody else. I was ready for a promotion, except I actually took a pay cut, and I got no benefits, so I go work at the software company. I ended up being the entire support team. We started growing, so I moved into implementation, and we hired a support team underneath. And then I ended up spending, I was there probably 7 years total. I spent about 6 years working in product management. So I got to sit in between you as customers, where we met initially, but sit between all the customers, see what they were doing in their business, see how they were using Infusionsoft, what was working, what wasn't working. And then when I was at Infusionsoft, I got to turn around and work with the developers and get a feel for, hey, what can we do on the technology side? So I got to sit right in the middle, see how the software is actually being used, and then also how it's being built. So I got a really, really good view of what works, what doesn't work, what are people trying to do. So I was there doing that for about 6.5 years, and then a couple of years back, I branched off. It basically got sick of hearing people say, oh, I'm only using 10% of the software, or oh, it's hard to use, I can't get stuff implemented. So I branched off and I was going to go conquer the world. And then I started working on my own as a freelance consultant and realized really quickly that working on my own was lame. So I started looking around to try and figure out, what was I going to do. I launched a little interview series, like an info product type thing. I'd go interview people to help them get ideas of, what are people doing with Infusionsoft. And I was kind of floating there, and I was getting to the point of like, okay, this is lame. I'm still kind of working by myself. I'm not really enjoying what I'm doing. And I get a call from this guy, and he was trying to suck me into, going and working with some other companies. So anyway, I'll let you tell your part of the story where you tried to come in and suck me into your master plan.
So I was in business school with Clayton Mast, CEO of Infusionsoft, and that's where we met. We went to this startup together. Things didn't work out great. This was in 1999, 2000. Internet imploded. We went our separate ways. And then in about 2002, Clayton called me up and wanted me to come help him get Infusionsoft ramped up. Marketing, sales, biz dev, which is where my expertise lies. So I was living in San Diego at the time. He convinced me to move out to the desert.
Crazy.
8-9 years later, I'm still trying to get used to the desert. But anyways, dove in hard. And when I met you at a Glazer Kennedy event back in 2006, I believe it was, I'm classically trained in business and process and stuff, and wasn't used to this direct response marketing world, and learned everything there. Took that, applied it to Infusionsoft, and grew it from, I think in 2005, we did 600 grand. And by the time I left about 2.5 years ago, we were doing 17.5 million in recurring revenue. So grew it like crazy, pulled the ripcord, exited out, and thought I wanted to make my mark on the world by working in the marketing automation space, but for big business. And hooked up with a company, really good company, have great things to say about it. But after a year working with this company, selling another platform called Marketo into big business, found out that this is really not fun. But thought I'd make it fun by recruiting Brad here into that business. And,
that is not the story you told me, just for the record. He was like, no, it's fun. It's just like working with Infusionsoft people.
I thought I could make it fun by bringing on somebody that I trust and understands business process and marketing automation. And Brad lasted all of about 3.5 weeks.
Not all of about. It was 3 weeks to the date physically in the office.
But the one good thing that came out of that experience was this company paid for Brad and I to go to Salesforce.com's user conference. User conference of like 90,000 users and crazy, crazy huge in the Moscone Center in San Francisco. And Brad and I went to like one session and we bailed. We went back to the hotel room like, this is lame. And we started talking about, hey, what has changed in the past little while?
We made a pit stop at Office Max
to
grab the big old Post-it notes.
That's right.
Then we went back to the hotel room.
Went back to the hotel room, and that was the genesis of 6th Division. We started thinking, hey, what's changed with Infusionsoft? What has changed with internet and marketing on the internet? What's changed for small businesses? And we started to, by the end of the conference, instead of going to classes, we stayed in the hotel room. By the end, we had the whole entire hotel room plastered with poster-sized Post-its outlining what would become 6th Division.
What kind of business do we want to build? Who do we want to get? What kind of services? How do we want to do stuff? How do we not want to do stuff? Mapped it all out in between some pretty amazing burgers and shakes. Super duper.
Super duper
Plug for Super
market,
Duper in San Francisco.
Crazy good. Yeah. So that's how 6th Division got started. We partnered up, and it's been a wild ride ever since. It's been awesome.
I like to say that Dave had a master plan. He thought he was going to sneak me into this big company. He didn't realize that I had a master plan, and I won because here we are, 6th Division. So
after that, I resigned a couple weeks later and partnered up with Brad, and yeah, that's how it got started.
Ever since.
Awesome. Well, encourage everybody to check these guys out at sixthdivision.com/NPE. And when you come to an upcoming event, you also see these guys around. Thanks, guys. Appreciate having you here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. Thanks.